Anyway, the other assessor that we had, he right, it is 7:30, which we're on the remote. I would welcome people to the meeting of the Pine Plain Zoning Board of Appeals. This is essentially to replace our regular February meeting. We moved it because we couldn't get sufficient attendance to get a meeting together at that time. And so we didn't want to hold up the discussion of the application another month. So we tried to reschedule, and we do have a quorum tonight. Our only applicant before us is help me, Steve.
Steve Hobson, HTWO Properties,
Okay,
Stitching Stores.
yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And Steve has put in an application. He's bought the property next door. I'm gonna let him explain his project, but bought the property next door and is proposing expansions before the planning board. And I believe that the issue that came up is that you have overextended what is allowed for coverage. And with that, Steve, maybe you could just give us a little
Sure.
overview of your project.
Sure. Is everyone familiar with the site?
Yeah.
Familiar with the site, so if I may, I'll just face this way, but the overage is roughly and I believe it's 20% over the existing allowable coverage. With that, I had a few meetings with the planning board, but with that is included an approximate 1,000 to 1,100 square foot retail, possible farm type stand scenario, retail, yes. Retail, yes, along the road with access. If you recall, there was a mobile home on one lot with a bunch of garages, which I removed. And I subsequently bought the property in between with the old shop in the rear and the White House. It sits about right here now. So the old driveway where the mobile home was is still there. The entrance is still there. I'm proposing that would be the westerly entrance, and that would be the only additional entrance to add to my existing one, which is opposite the high school, the western entrance to the high school. So coverage wise, a lot of it stems from combining the whole thing with the existing storage facility that's there, which I had received a variance from the town years ago to add the one small skinnier building kind of across from the high school, which at the time I didn't foresee me being able to obtain any of these properties. It just wasn't on my radar. Because I started this bought this building in 1999 and built these in around 2002, something like that. So the proposal would be, these are the existing 4 buildings that are there. The way you would enter it, you drive in where you do now and around the back and straight on through. There's a couple big maple trees that are still there here by the existing building, but kind of right about where that White House sits now, that's going to be parking, but in front of that would be where the retail stand will be. The storage wise, proposing this one building here will mimic the one that's already there, kind of facing north-south. It'd be exactly the same size as the one that's there that you can see from the road. This one, the center one, is going to be the largest one, about 9,700 square feet. I want to do in climate control. And my proposal will be, as you're looking from 199, if you look straight onto my larger building that's there now, you'll see a shed roof with a pair of commercial doors. I want to do the same on the front facade of this building. However, there'll be 2 entrances because it would have 2 long hallways that would transverse this way, and one that goes this way across, so that each quadrant of the building could be entered without somebody having to walk, a couple hundred feet or whatever. They get their vehicle close. No driving around the rear. Same look. They'll look essentially the same as the others, but this building will have heat and AC in it. Probably have, I'm thinking mini splits in it for heat and air conditioning. To the west, On the property line with the appropriate setback, I'm not looking for a variance on that, will be. There's an existing tree line that runs, when you drive by, you'll see a tree line that runs back along that, there's a blue house that sits here. This building would be 250 feet long, and about 20 feet deep. All the doors would face east on that, so the neighbors to the west are gonna see still that wooded line, and then they'll see the backside of the building. Our retail area, again, same roof line, same facade, landscaping, etc. Customers would be able to drive in this westerly entrance and come in here, and they'll be parking in between here. This may not end up looking like this landscape area that he shows here, the engineer, because I'm gonna do 2 hallways, not 1, but they'd be able to park in here, and then there'll be parking up alongside that building that's kind of straight across from the high school here. There's some trees, and we'd have parking up in the front here. So if people wanted to, they could drive around the back of my building out of here, or they could turn around and go back out that westerly entrance. And I'm thinking seasonal on that, obviously, winter might be tough. It'd be more or less a seasonal scenario there. And part of the reason for the asking for the additional coverage again comes from the square footage of this building. And as well as kind of the need to just fill what I have there, and the amount I'm outlaying to do this, to kind of do the whole project at once. To ensure I don't have to come back for anything.
Yeah, so Steve, you said that you thought that you were over the coverage requirement by about 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many square feet that is?
Square footage wise, no, I don't. It's the proposed buildings come out to 19,000. With the drives and parking comes to 24,000. So it's, I don't know exactly on the square footage, but he factored in the drives and all that as well.
All right, so the coverage takes in, then it's, is it gonna be paved then?
What I'm gonna do, everywhere you see here that's non-drive, I'm gonna do in millings. I've already got a guy lined up that's doing a big project at New Paltz this summer that I'm gonna get millings hauled in and enroll that. So it won't be paved anytime soon because it's not gonna be in the budget for me. Anywhere that's not a drivable area, like this area between the 2 buildings will be drivable here and here. This area and here will all be landscaped. This whole front will be landscaped and around the stand. Everywhere else, everywhere that's not will be seeded down, obviously with drainage that'll be in the site plan.
So I think that the issue of coverage, it often has to do with impervious surfaces and runoff.
Mhm.
Obviously, if you've paved or put a roof over, it's not giving you a place to seep into the ground.
Mhm.
And that, I guess that's one reason for a coverage restriction.
Mhm.
And I think the other is that you're trying not to, I guess, in a, sort of a combination neighborhood, you have neighborhoods to, again, have a site that is just totally covered over.
Sure.
And that was in the zoning law as a legislative issue. That's not something that we are supposed to change. You could meet coverage by reducing the number of storage units on the side, I presume. If you're, whatever it is, 1,000 or 2,000, how many units would you lose in order to meet coverage?
Right. Yeah, well, I'd have to have the engineer draw that up for me.
I think that's gonna be one of the things that I'm gonna need to know. We're not allowed to just say, oh, yeah, you're a really nice, I mean, as much as we would like to, Steve.
Mhm.
I'm not allowed to say, geez, Steve's a really good guy. He does really nice stuff. I'm gonna allow him to make more money.
Yeah.
Just because we want to. The zoning law is a law passed by the town board. We're not allowed to essentially change their legislative intent.
So I can't seek a variance to be over on the square footage.
if you had,
What if I
I'm trying to
if I-
think how.
What if I don't combine this lot and we leave it separate and we only move forward with these two lots that I've purchased? So that I come in less. And don't combine them on the deed. I'm only trying to make that, it just
Oh,
makes
I see what you're
sense.
saying.
If I just leave it where it is now. I mean, they're in the same business name, but what if I leave, this is deeded separately right now, all the existing is deeded separately.
Well, that I think becomes something for us to consider. In other words, if you can show us that the site that you're proposing, well, but then you run into the issue of needing a side yard variance, right? For that center lot line. Because you've
For
got
over
that,
here,
yeah,
for this
Yeah.
one that I added.
yeah.
And it really boils down to essentially. I turn away somebody just about every day. So
Yeah.
everybody I'm turning away is going to Millerton, they're going to Millbrook, they're going to Red Hook. They're not staying here in town, they're out of here.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna go through all this expense, which I've already laid out a ton of money. I mean, my initial plan was to keep, right here, this outline shows where the White House at Cape Cod is right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Initially, I was gonna subdivide that with a half acre, and that's what I had gone through last
Mhm.
summer, because I'm like, I'll sell that and get some of my money back.
Right.
But then when I took down the old shop in the back and everything else, I'm standing there and I'm going, well, how am I gonna build this whole thing around this and allow that house to have a yard and everything to make it look right? So that's why, given all these things, I go to the planning board. The planning board requested that possibly I could do some sort of a housing scenario in the front. I didn't purchase the property for that reason. Once I factor in septic requirements and setbacks and the well and all that, then it rules out me being able to do anything with what's back here. So fast forward to here now, I met with the planning board on site. We discussed some options. They felt that this retail stand would be a good idea because I can landscape it in and allow for some impervious area around it to, for drainage and all that stuff. Kind of as a caveat. So that bumps my square footage up too, right there,
Mhm.
by quite a bit.
What if you didn't have that?
Yeah, what do they,
Okay.
Why, what is the logic? Why is the town, they just want it to look prettier? Is that the whole, I mean, we know what business you're in.
Where do I stand? I'm on the line.
Serious, I don't know, because he has a business, it's a need for, clearly, I've heard it myself outside of here.
Yeah.
You maintain the property beautifully,
Mhm.
you've done everything right. So it does seem odd to me that, and are you gonna occupy that retail
I am
space,
not.
Steve?
No, I was gonna lease it.
So you have to lease it to somebody separate.
So go ahead.
can I just say that there's leased properties directly across the street that have been unable to lease the property, the commercial space for the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's always got a sign there. Well, I did, I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Miglarelli Farms.
Okay,
The planning board mentioned them. He's a customer of mine in my other endeavors. Spoke to his daughter. They've got 3 locations. They've got one in Red Hook. They got one at the Bridge Approach, one out on 28 in Phoenicia.
yeah,
She absolutely wants to open a 4th one.
okay,
So I said to her, I said, it's not gonna happen this year. There's no way I
Right.
can make it happen this year, but she
Right.
said the same thing for the following year. So potentially I have a
Yeah.
tenant. And she would be a good tenant, and she has a lot of customers right here in Pine Plains that sell to her.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, well, maybe in the winter I could store my tractor, my skid steer for plowing and stuff like that, and kind of, use it
Right.
for that, but then the
Yeah.
other 8 months.
Open shed more like.
Yeah, and then the other
Okay.
8 months, it serves the community with that. Do I want to do that or do I have to?
Mm.
No. I'm in the storage business.
It's like an odd
I
ask.
can see that.
So I guess I'm just trying to appease
Yeah.
what I need to do. And the bottom line, Scott, too, is that again, with the square footage, over the years, I added, I maxed out, I truly maxed out. So I don't want to cut myself short. I spent a lot of money on this property.
Yeah.
And I'm, the house is sitting there ready to go. I've got a demo permit for it, but I'm like, well, geez, maybe I might not be able to do what I gotta do. Maybe I put the brakes on and I gotta fix that house now. I don't know.
Now, Steve, the other thing that you did for us, which again, we have to take all this into consideration. It's never completely cut and dried or easy for us, but the other thing in your favor that I recall that you did for us, you gave us pedestrian
Yes.
Yeah.
walkway through there.
And that's right here, and then I also have one, this is Mr. Coon's house here. I also have an easement that comes in right here with a separate pole that fit the back building.
Yep.
So there's one that comes in here, and again, there's gonna be that space in between there, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be. You know, that's actually this whole space right here. I've got a row of pine trees.
And are people walking through from?
Every day,
Pioneer
there's
Drive?
people there all the time. They come
Okay.
through on bikes, cars,
Yeah.
dogs, everybody comes through, so.
Right.
And I would certainly. Landscape the whole front around this. I mean, I know there's gonna be requirements that don't have to go up, and I'd certainly plan to do that. I don't want it to look like Fort Knox. Knock on wood, I've never had a security issue there.
Right.
I have 10 cameras, that are on my phone. I can tell if it needs to be plowed, whatever's going on. So
Yeah.
I like going that route rather than having fence everywhere that
No.
looks like what's going on in there,
Exactly.
you know?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't I see you put charging stations in
Yeah,
too?
we have EV.
So there's another advantage. I mean, you really have done
Mhm.
like
To
this.
help the community.
Yeah. So
so-
I would love to see what, if you were to take off that first property that you own, how much are you over on the new? I'd be
Okay.
curious.
All right, so I'll do the math that way and
Yeah.
it's keeping these two separate, and that would be allowable to zoning?
Sure. I mean,
The combined.
No, he would run into then,
Variance.
yeah, he
You'd
would
need a
run
variance
into
for
to the side yard variance for that building on the east side.
This one here.
think the neighbor wouldn't complain.
exactly my point.
Yeah, 'cause right, I got you, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm catching up. But
Okay.
then also, if I'm not doing this, I can jockey them more as well. I'm kind of trying to make it with a traffic
Sure.
flow to go through. I don't want to have three entrances. There's another driveway right here now that serves the house.
Yeah.
I'd be alleviating that, which, and is a good thing. I did talk to DOT.
I was gonna say, did they give you any grief?
Not at all. He told
Okay.
me what I needed to do, and
Okay.
everything's on a website now. I also reached out to the DEC, and that's everything's a website as well.
Mhm.
But the DOT guy said, no, with the curbing, if there's an existing there, it shouldn't be a problem.
And I mean, with
Yeah.
storage, that's good for the septic table, the water table, all of that.
Yes.
So I can't imagine it being,
All these are dry wells that the engineer laid out in here too,
Okay.
which all the ones on my existing lot are there. I currently have zero water issues.
Right.
Zero.
So did,
I'm not in the well, I'm not in the septic, no facilities whatsoever.
Yeah.
None.
yeah, I didn't, unfortunately, I didn't either attend the planning board meeting, nor did I review it online.
Mhm.
Did the town engineer or the planning board members talk to you at all about, runoff? I mean, you're saying that there really isn't any, because going to the dry wells, it's being conveyed to the water
It is.
table.
It is. And this area all back here with the proper setbacks will all be seeded down like it is now everywhere. Everywhere I'm putting snow now is seeded down.
Yeah.
You
right,
know, but again, I, for the cost of it, for what concrete costs and steel costs and everything else, like I don't wanna, I don't wanna do any, this is it. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
I didn't even anticipate really doing this. That's why I added this other building. So,
Now, if you eliminate the White House and you eliminate the farmer's market in the front, will you meet the requirements?
I believe so because I'm gonna have less parking. All this parking right here is to serve the retail area.
So
so
that
he'd
you
probably
probably
be okay, yeah.
20% you'd make.
It'll be close, yeah, and then right in and around it. And you're telling me there's no way you can get a variance for any percentage of it?
No, that's not, I mean, there's always a way, and the board, it's always a discussion, and then, and again, I think that part of it, you're conveying, you have, I think the town always has to weigh what the project is bringing to the town versus how much of a variance that you're looking for, and I would love to be able to say you have a good case, but I wanted to just point out what the issue is for this board, in that if there's another way to accomplish the project and still meet what is legislated before us, and you sort of hit the nail on the head, well, I can reduce some of the buildings and make it, but is that really gonna benefit the town too? And that's something that we have to consider.
Understood. Yeah, sure, I think this retail scenario would be an asset. I think it would. I think it would be it's a great location for it.
Right.
Everybody's going to school, or a lot of people are going in and out of school every day. it would be an asset. However, I could, if I didn't have that there, I would probably slide this building forward and this one out a bit and here and lay it out a little different. But ultimately, I want to maximize what I'm gonna get out of the acres that I have.
Well, and it sounds like the planning board is drilling in that they want that retail space. It sounds as if
They
they,
requested it.
yeah. So even if you cut it, they may come back and say, no, we want it. I mean, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Yeah,
But you meet the requirements without the retail space and removing the White House.
I have to pay the engineer to tell me that. He's gotta
Okay.
figure it out,
Right.
you know? He knows the setbacks and he knows, he knows, he can calculate, he can recalculate it all. It's a little blurry here. It's hard to read for you. I got on my paper plans, but as far as the coverage. Oh, wait a sec, actually. Yeah, 22, yeah, there we go.
yeah,
Yep, 22.1% variance. Without combining them. If we combine them, it's 24%. Is what he did,
okay,
if we combine the two together,
right.
which. If I have to send two separate checks out for school taxes and two separate checks out for my county town taxes, I'm not gonna
Right.
worry about that. If it was to stay two.
Yeah.
It just made sense to me to combine it all. If allowable.
Well, we have to get input by the 24th from neighbors or from,
Well, there will be a public hearing.
right, yeah. I mean, there are not many neighbors.
Yeah. Did you,
Oh my God,
did you get the impression that if the variance was granted, the planning board would put it through,
I
or
did,
you did?
I
Okay,
did.
I was just curious what their feel was.
And the reason that I'm making the larger climate control building. You're burning up a lot of square footage with hallways and egress and access and that sort of thing.
Is that
that's every-
building all it'd be on the inside,
It
right?
will
You
totally.
have to get up,
You
you have
won't
to
see
go
any
in
doors on the
doors on the
outside.
outside,
You'll
okay,
just see the hallways.
yeah,
So there's a lot of egress scenario, that burns it up, but that's.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 people that call, it's what they request. They want
Right.
climate control.
Climate
because
control.
there's no moisture and,
Yeah.
so. I figured that's why I would make that building larger. But you also don't want to make it too large that people they have to walk so much further to get
Right.
to everything. But you'll see no outside doors, so that. This building here, I would propose would have doors on both sides, like these do, but this one would only have long ones there, or on, facing.
right, facing.
So driving by, you're not gonna see people with the doors open with all their stuff out,
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see, again, you've been a real asset to the community.
Well, thank
And
you.
I think that this will, also be an asset. The fact that you're keeping all of the runoff on site, into dry wells, so you're, not pushing it off on the neighbors
exactly,
and not depriving, us of the groundwater. I don't know, maybe that's an argument for saying that in this case, the coverage is taken care of. It's not like it's some big shopping center that you're paving everything, and it sounds like that, even with the millings, you'd still get some, penetration,
Yeah,
through that, and the fact that it's directed to dry wells, that should help also.
yeah,
the whole lot the whole lot drains well. When you drive by, you see, there's no
right,
sand.
there's no
down around.
cooling, yeah,
And
It's all gravel.
Yeah, I left a couple big monster maple trees out front by that old driveway where the mobile home was. To try and keep that, I just wanted to leave some, and I'd like to leave those there, and that in doing so, it might kick this. This building over a little bit to the east. I didn't plot that exactly where those two trees are, but it's somewhere right in around there. But again, I could go either way. I felt like she was positive with it, and I felt if I could lease it, and hey, if I lease it out for 8 months out of the year and it covers my taxes,
Yeah.
then it's a
That's a
win-win, you
win.
know?
Yeah.
So, kind of makes it
And is that the minimal amount of parking you have to provide for a structure that size? I'm assuming they make you have so many,
they did, I mean, I
Spots.
showed 2 spaces here and 5 there, so that's 7, and then 4 across here is 11.
okay,
That's a lot.
that is a lot.
I
Most of
never-
their spaces, most of their places don't even have that.
No, you can barely get in and
Yeah.
out of them, and my traffic is everybody drives by, there's nobody there, there's never anybody
No.
there, so you just don't see people.
Okay.
So I don't foresee that as being a problem, so could I nip a parking space here and there? Absolutely, and make
Right.
it more landscaping, there's not gonna be a parking issue, I don't feel, or a traffic flow issue,
Certainly doesn't seem like it.
no.
Okay.
Good, yes.
So.
All right, so now we go to,
If people are satisfied with where we are, we
I
go
am.
to a public hearing.
I would
Yeah.
move for that.
And I don't know if you've had any contact, any concerns expressed by neighbors. I mean, certainly at the public hearing, they'll
Right.
have that
Absolutely.
opportunity to come.
I've spoken to Mr. Coons back here, he's good with it. He actually told me to buy the property before I even, and he told me a lot of things. And it's to the one guy back here, but the other one I didn't, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Presumably they have to be happy with them not looking at what was there, I'm sure.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
So,
and
no matter what,
obviously, it's a pretty quiet, you're a pretty quiet neighbor.
yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
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 And it is
And
nice that it's not
And
fenced in.
there's a fence back here
Right.
now where Mr. Coons is, and it's all fallen down, but I already bought new sections of wood picket fence to put up along there.
Mhm.
But the westerly run, I'd like to just leave natural and add some more stuff to it. Some that's gonna be year round. And again, none of the lights are gonna hit any of the neighbors or anything, because everything's within.
Yeah.
So there's not like there'll be headlights shining on anybody's house, or there really isn't. Any way you drive in or go in and out, there's not, so.
All right, well, let's see what the public says that, I go ahead and say
Yeah.
we should set a public hearing.
And will we take a look at it, or did you want to schedule that too, or we can just go on our own, have a peek?
I can meet anytime.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to have a site visit.
Yeah,
I'm
it's,
muddy
it's,
path right
it's
now.
wide open there, so it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to see.
Easy to see what's,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I drove by again real slow today.
Yeah, there's some mud in there now. Also, and I can have the engineer, I mean. Prior to the public hearing, I can have the engineer double check my parking spaces. One thing the planning board brought up was that. If this is a retail spot, I had initially thought maybe we should have a drive-through right up front, but they didn't want that, so this will all be landscaped in here. And what I could do is nip these parking spaces and just kind of consolidate them. Almost so you'd come in, if you came in the westerly entrance and you pulled up alongside my existing building that's
Yeah.
climate control, facing that, there's some trees there.
Yep.
That would be the parking area, and like I said, the design of this is gonna change a little bit because,
Because you're gonna have the two
Hallway.
hallways.
yeah.
This is not for us, it's something for you to think about, and that people may bring it up with the planning board, is that. So if this is all gonna be the mini splits, there's compressors and stuff outside. I don't know how you put that or maybe there is a way to organize that so that there's some aesthetic to it as opposed to a bunch of
Yeah.
that machinery just lined up along the outside of your building.
I was thinking hanging them on the back gable end here
Yeah.
and then running them down if they would reach. I'm not sure how far they can go with them without an additional head or whatever, because I've got them on my shop in Red Hook and they hang on stands. They mount inside the building. They're a rack, so they're up off the
Mhm.
ground,
Yeah,
so nobody can drive into them.
That's all.
So, but it's, that remains to be determined. Even these companies, it's very hard to even get a quote out of them without having like a finalized, they want to know 100% before they even put any effort into drawing it out for you.
how long is the climate controlled building?
It is 160. Where's the, it's right here, yeah. See my glasses on, right now. Yeah, it's 60 by 160. 160 this way, 60 this way.
No, I think that they easily run those lines 60 feet.
Yeah, yeah. I've been in a few of them and they generally put the mechanical rooms inside, like in the center of the quadrant. But
Yeah, but you're gonna have to have, the heat exchanger outside.
right, right. If I go mini splits, which I'm gonna lean
Seems
this
to
way.
make sense, because
Yeah,
somebody rents a unit, has an individual mini split, you can charge, this is your rent and
yeah,
here's your electric bill.
Yeah. absolutely. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
keep it as warm or cold as you want.
right. Let them have at it. Yeah. Yep.
I think it makes sense.
All right, so that will be the fourth Tuesday.
24th.
Because it's this month.
Yeah,
24th, yeah.
You just send a letter to the neighbors, Trish?
Believe it or not, there's 19 letters going here.
Really?
Yeah,
19.
For this?
because it's 250
250. All right, I'm thinking
It's like
500.
everyone on like.
Oh, wow.
and
Yep, yep,
So.
okay.
Okay. Is there anything else, any other recommendations that anyone would have that they would want to see in the plan prior to that, or?
I think you've given it more thought than we
Yeah.
have.
Well, I gotta. The engineer, he doesn't work for gratis.
Well, as opposed to,
Yeah,
as opposed to just saying percentage wise in terms of the amount of coverage, give us a square foot number too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll have them break it out to the buildings and the drives and parking, so.
do we need anything staked out before we look at it, or are we okay? I'm good with it the way
Yeah.
it is. I mean, we know what it's gonna look like and where it's gonna be, so.
I mean, Tim Jones was there. It was an interesting operation back then.
Interesting.
Yes.
Right down the line you are. Interesting. When I took the siding off the back of the house in the bathroom, you could see right through one wall and out the other just about. The
Oh,
only thing keeping the weather out was the siding.
oh my goodness.
So it is a lot of work and he just,
Yeah,
so. But,
okay, good.
yeah, and I did go to two of those farm stands and I measured them and I looked at them and looked at how retail stands and looked at them as to what they would, and maybe she would have some input when it comes to that as to what works for them and doesn't work for them. I already have electric there,
Okay.
so,
Well, and that would not be, a contingency for us because there's no, you
Understood.
can't guarantee
No.
that anybody's gonna show up there and
Yeah.
everybody has to recognize that.
Yeah.
Right.
You create the space and then you.
If you build it, maybe they'll come.
hope they pay the rent, and hope they show up.
They're a good operation.
They are, and that's why they mentioned that.
Yeah.
Like she said, I've really been waiting to do a fourth location. And she said that would work. So I said, well,
It certainly worked for Pine Plains, I'm sure.
Yeah, would be nice.
All right, I guess that would
Okay.
just so that Trish has something to put in the minutes that I'd recommend that we go ahead and set the hearing for our next meeting, which is the 24th. Anybody have any concerns or as long as everybody's okay with that, we'll say aye.
Bye.
I
Big piece of property. It's bigger than the original one, the one you're in now.
it is, yeah. This is only the original one is only this is shy of an acre, and now this is almost two. It's just shy of two.
Okay,
The lots are all very similar in size,
Yeah.
so And like I said, this denotes right here where that house currently sits right here. So it's quite a ways back. If the house had set right on the road like the other houses do when you're coming into town,
Yeah.
it would have been easier to subdivide it and it
Yeah.
would have been it wouldn't have even been a thought. I would have
Right.
cleaned it up, changed it and put it on the market and
Right.
moved on, but it just sits so far
It's far
back
back.
that it makes
The
it,
trailer was far back too, wasn't it?
it was far back,
Yeah.
Yep. And garages and all that.
Yeah.
He didn't have a well. There wasn't a well for that trailer. It was it was an oil tank cut open.
Really?
And the oil tank was cut open and it was about 10 feet down with a jet pump in it with a line coming in. I tore it all out of there, but
Wow.
that's what it didn't have a well, it had an oil tank cut open.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, I think we're,
All right.
Good. See you. See you.
see you on the 24th.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, take care.
Let's see, minute.
Minutes.
Yeah. It's been a while since I looked at them, but
That
I,
was the notes, section.
yeah, I did look at that. Yes, I did. I did. I had no problems with it.
Yeah, and,
I made the changes you sent, yours.
okay.
That's it.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes of December 23rd?
So made.
And,
Second.
all right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, will say aye.
I
Any opposed? I hear none.